On this episode, we discuss how fun Bangkok can be, if at all, if you don't drink alcohol.
So if you think the only worthwhile things to do in Bangkok revolve around drinking and drinking culture, you'll love this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, and welcome to the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Thailand in 2001 with a buddy, bought a beer and drank it outside of Don Mueang Airport, terrified that I was going to be arrested. True story. Welcome to Thailand.
Is that true? You drank a beer outside of Don Mueang?
Yeah, the friend who picked us up at the airport bought us a beer and gave it to us, and we were standing on the street corner, and I cracked it open, and I'm like, is this allowed? Or like, are we going to get in trouble? And I don't remember ever
hearing that. That's great.
My friend just looked at me and he goes, "Welcome to Thailand, Greg."
Great. And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract officially 25 years ago. Fell in love with knowing I can get away with wearing shorts and flip-flops to everything but perhaps a wedding or a funeral. So I never left.
Man, I think you could probably get away with that. Once, maybe twice.
Maybe at a funeral. Well, I'm a middle class guy from Ohio, so I'm a very casual dresser. So if you let me dress down, I'll do it.
Yeah, and in Thailand, there's, like we said, there's always someone who shows up, some cousin who shows up to your wedding wearing a Slayer T-shirt and cargo shorts.
No, I tend to sink to the minimum. All right, we want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind-the-scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about the trend of valuable and beloved markets getting demolished for new constructions only to sit empty for 8 years, an update from my ongoing housing drama, which recently took one step backwards, how Greg almost got scammed filling in a fake digital arrival card on his return from Canada, and my surprisingly awesome experience at a public laundromat. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 800 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you listen to us on Spotify, you can hear all of our bonus shows there as well. If you're a patron, simply link your Patreon account to your Spotify account, add our new feed titled Bangkok Podcast Badass Patrons Only to hear the regular and bonus shows in the same place. Okay, well, in this episode, we wanted to dive into a topic that was raised by a younger friend of ours who recently moved to Bangkok. And we were talking about settling in and finding your own level, which all of us have to do. And he asked us, what can you do in Bangkok if you don't drink alcohol? And we thought that was a pretty interesting question, as most social events, especially those in the expat community, revolve around, if not alcohol itself, then certainly the act of drinking. Dinners, meetups, chamber events, networking events, river cruises, pub quizzes, even the famous Hash House Harriers describe themselves as a drinking club with a running problem.
Sure.
Now, we thought this was an interesting thing to discuss. Ed, you famously enjoy a drink every now and then, while I, slightly less famously, hardly drink at all. So it's an interesting topic, and especially, like I said, in a city where most social events are at places that serve alcohol, revolve around drinking alcohol, or who have alcohol as a central part of the theme of the evening.
Well, I love this topic. I want to give a shout out to a guy named Connor, who's I met out at a bar. I was at Samsara on the river.
Love that place.
And I think it might be it's adding up. I think it might be the third time that I was recognized by my voice. So he heard me hanging out with my buddy I work with, and he recognized my voice from the podcast.
That's awesome.
And said hello. Super nice guy. So this is kind of interesting. So Connor actually suggested this topic, but you and I also happen to have a younger friend dating a friend of ours, actually engaged to a friend of ours. And he also doesn't drink. And so we put two and two together and came up with the show. But thanks, Connor, for prodding us in the right direction.
I got to go hang out at Samsara more often, get some ideas for shows.
We need more. Yeah, maybe if we hang out more, we'll get more ideas.
Just walk around the city talking loudly, hoping someone goes, "Hey."
No, but I actually love this question because I am just I'm guilty. I'm like first in line for being guilty for just drinking socially, automatically, habitually, which is bad. You know,
Sure.
so I don't feel like I'm being peer pressured. That's not how I feel. It's just I'm out and I just feel like I need to have a drink in my hand, which is bad. It's wrong. Like, don't do it. But almost everywhere I go, you know, so I go to my blues bar. I'm there actually for the music. I don't really need to drink, but I drink because I'm out, you know. Or even at the film club, I'm there for the film and my friends. I don't need to drink, but I order a drink anyway. We actually talked about this just a little bit before the show started. Of course, it is always possible that you could just go to a place where most people are drinking and say, "Hey, I'm not drinking tonight," or "I don't drink." But I don't know. What's your take on that? I do feel I have some sympathy for non-drinkers in drinking situations.
Yeah, this is something that I've struggled with is not the right word, but not the right phrase. But, you know, I've got the brain of a filthy pervert, but some of my habits are pretty Puritan. And among them is that I hardly ever drink. And I've never really understood the big deal around places not serving alcohol. Like if there's a religious holiday or an election or something like that.
Right.
I've got plenty of friends who in the past we've had plans to go out one night for dinner or something like that. And my friend cancels because he's like, "Oh, it's a dry day. I forgot I can't go out."
Oh, right.
And,
yeah.
and my thought is
right.
Like, Jesus, man, like if you can't go out and enjoy yourself without alcohol, like there's a deeper issue that needs to be examined here.
For sure.
But I realize that that's a real minority sort of uppity, dismissive attitude perhaps. But I'm like you as well. Like when you go out with someone, it's just automatically assumed that you're going to get a drink. And there's an extra level of friction for those who don't want to.
Yeah. So, I mean, I give all leeway to non-drinkers. So non-drinkers who have no problem being with drinkers, more power to you. So if you have the right kind of personality and you're just like, "Yeah, I'm not drinking," and you never feel peer pressure and you don't feel awkward, you win. More power to you.
Yeah.
But then again, I do also have sympathy for people who aren't drinking who really would prefer to be around other people who aren't drinking. So I get that as well. Like just so they don't have the option. Like this is something that I should do, because I do end up just drinking just out of habit, or like, okay, my buddy's got a drink, so I'll get a drink. So I'm a little bit. So I'm going to take some of our advice. So we're gonna list options in Bangkok, but these are things that I need to do, like to go to specifically to an event that where it's either officially non-drinking or it's very unlikely anyone's going to be drinking.
Right. I should also say I'm a little bit of a hypocrite because I talk to my skinny friends and they're like, "Why don't you just say no to that extra piece of cheesecake?" I'm like, "Well, I could, but I don't."
I could say no.
I could say no.
That's true. Yeah. The other shot I want to give, and this is in interest of full disclosure. You know how sometimes you get the feeling that you're talking to your friend about something, and then all of a sudden a YouTube video pops up. Like you start wondering if Google's listening to your conversations, like the algorithm is chasing you.
They're listening, dude. They're listening right now.
Okay.
They're watching us. They're watching you.
You and I chatted on Facebook Messenger about this topic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The next day on YouTube, like a video popped up. What non-drinkers can do in Bangkok.
No way.
Like, yes. So I want to give a shout out to this guy. It's a YouTube channel called Thailand Bound.
Okay.
And I'll just talk straight. This guy tends to focus on retired Westerners, like in Pattaya, and like 5 mistakes not to make when dating, you know, a Thai girl, like this kind of stuff. You know, like that's his that's his bread and butter. You know, like the retired dudes, and like how to live on, you know, 100 baht a day. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, as a retired like English pensioner. You know, that kind of stuff. So I have seen his stuff before. It's fine. It's just not my wheelhouse. But he just has a show. So I watched his video, and then it sparked. So some of my ideas. This is stuff that he mentioned in his video. So check out the YouTube channel Thailand Bound. Again, it's not really my thing, but it's like solid content. He's lived in Thailand for a while. He's got some pearls of wisdom.
Okay, that's interesting because I went over to Reddit and I started digging around a little bit too, and there's some very lovely or lively. Sorry, I guess some of them are lovely. Some very lively discussions over there. People posting, "What do I do in Bangkok without alcohol?"
Great.
And of course, it's the internet, so you get about six threads in before someone says whores don't need alcohol or something like that, and it just degenerates into this ridiculous miasma.
Well, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, I think let's you go first. You lead off with your list because I think the list that I got is probably a significant overlap here. And let's be honest, like Bangkok is not unique. It's not like this is the only city in the world where these things exist for people who don't drink.
Yeah, some of the advice is general.
Yeah, and there's also probably not like a ton of options to do. So I don't think there's going to be any huge surprises here, but I think probably we've got all the bases covered. So lead off with yours, and I'll follow along on my list here.
Okay, I'll just run through some stuff.
Sure.
So this is one thing that actually Connor mentioned that he had gotten into, but to me, first on the list are social sports activities. And it's right now it's pretty popular in Thailand to play padel or pickleball for kind of older people.
Right.
And I would lead off with that kind of activity because the goal here is you want to do something social. So it's not just like, hey, what am I going to do with all my time? I can go to the library and read books. So the goal here is I'm a non-drinker, but I want to be social.
Right, exactly.
So the key, I think certain sports activities are kind of meant to be social, like. And to me, again, being a middle-aged dude, in Bangkok, to me, leading the charge is pickleball and padel. And those seem to be super popular if you want to be social. Some people, they want an intense workout or they're hardcore runners, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like, I want to do something social as a non-drinker. So doing something athletic, I think is number one. And in this case, Connor was already doing it. But I think for people out there, if you've never tapped into sports activities that are kind of designed to be social, to me that would be number one.
Yeah, the problem though is that after a lot of these sports activities, often they get together for a beer. No,
you're right. No, I think you're. But I think it'll be. If you play a pickleball for 2 hours, then you've kind of had your night out, and so some of those people won't be going on for a drink. I think it's a little bit easier to be like, oh, I got to work early in the morning. So I don't know. I just think these social sports activities, you're not, some of them, as you pointed out, like the Harrier, the Hash House Harriers, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're kind of like, we are going to drink, like drinking is part of our thing.
Right, right. But I think what you're saying is no one is saying like, oh man, I wish I could play some like, some hardcore touch football and not get drunk. It's pretty easy to do that and not get drunk because it's, by the end of it, it's easy to, you've got your event out of the way.
My second piece of advice would be, I don't know what to call this. I would call this the broader wellness community. Bangkok has a lot of people into yoga, meditation, and other wellness type things. There's a whole class of things. And these are people who are into being healthy. So I think these are the types of people who either would be non-drinkers or be very cool to be around if you're not drinking. And I was a big yoga guy for more than 3 years, and it's a pretty cool community. There's tons of meditation groups. Our frequent guest Prab Pandit, he's got his own group of meditators. But if I decided, hey, I'm taking a break from drinking, I'm taking a break from nightlife, I would head straight to a yoga studio, or I would start hanging out with meditators, hit some of these meditation groups. Obviously, it also could potentially learn something about Buddhism or Thai culture. So I don't know what to call that. The wellness, semi new age wellness community is pretty big in Thailand.
I guess so. So picking up a new hobby that is somewhat defined by its tilt towards living healthy would sort of automatically solve the problem.
Yeah. Well, I think so that's my second piece of advice. My third thing is just any hobbyist group, because that takes the focus off of booze. So it's like, I thought of your Kyudo, your Japanese archery stuff.
Right.
There's a very popular Bangkok chess club. Obviously you got to, be a good chess player, but there's a board game community. There's a hiking club.
I want to stop real quick and say that ditto for board games, because every thread or bulletin board I looked at or Reddit discussion, people were mad about board games. And every week there seems to be a new awesome board game cafe or shop going up in Bangkok.
That's right.
So there's a huge community of people out there.
Now, again, maybe at some of those activities there's drinking, but at least drinking is not the main focus. It's kind of like, obviously some yoga people drink, but what I mean is if you're going to yoga activities, like drinking it'll be much easier to opt out.
Yeah.
If you were joining a club of American football fans, well, now you're going to be in trouble if you say you're not a drinker.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. But as a board game geek, it's pretty easy to have an enjoyable afternoon playing board games.
Yeah, like half the people are going to be non-drinkers anyway.
No one's going to be like, come on, man, just one shot.
Let's pound some beers before playing Settlers of Catan.
Risk is more fun when you're wasted.
Right. But there's a lot, when I Googled there's just tons of clubs. There's apparently a huge hiking club, which it sparked my interest. I mean, this is because I want to increase my steps. But there's a very popular Bangkok hiking club that arranges like long walks and hikes, which is exactly what I need to do.
Yeah. There's tons of groups that are like, I belong to a couple of daddies groups on Facebook, and they organize weekend camping.
That sounds
weekends.
a little bit sketch. Daddies groups.
That's a different club down on Silom. But no, they offer like fishing weekends and hiking weekends and stuff. So
yeah.
So families go out and do these cool things, and I guess sitting around a campfire drinking beers is pretty easy to slide into that. But
right.
But there are surprisingly varied activities in Bangkok where it's not the focus. Booze is not the focus at all.
Right. My next thing, and this is something that the Thailand bound guy mentioned, which is totally up our alley. It's like just taking a class that a lot of people take classes at night, because they're working during the day. It puts you on a schedule. It gives you something to do. So like you go to work, maybe grab some dinner, and then, I got my Thai class, So I think Thai language would be number one. But just really taking any type of evening class, it gives you something to do at night that obviously there's people there, so it's semi-social. And then, then when the class is over, it's 9 p.m. or 9:30, and it's easier to opt out in case people are drinking. So I like this idea. Like if I decided not to drink, I would be thinking, okay, how am I going to fill out my time? And so I think a structured class is a great thing.
Yeah, classes are a good idea. Thai language is obviously the number one. But there's also a lot of like painting classes, artistic classes.
Sure.
Knitting, things like that. There's computer classes like Thai Web Courses, I think is the name of the company that's been around for a long time, where you can go and learn programming and design and all this kind of stuff.
Sure.
I feel like none of this stuff is mind blowing, and it's all pretty obvious once we say it. But I also don't think it's very obvious living in Bangkok. Like,
yeah, no, I participate in traditional Bangkok nightlife too much.
Yeah.
Too much. But I do think people don't, and in a way, it's kind of the whole purpose of the whole podcast is to show that there's a lot to Bangkok besides
exactly
the wildness and the red light. But it's absolutely true. Like there's so many social organizations in Bangkok that are not like party focused.
Right.
Like there's a lot. There's just a lot of groups and organizations and meetups, like a ridiculous number of meetups for on 20 different topics.
Well, speaking of meetups, I'm on meetup.com, which I've always been a huge advocate for because I used to run a meetup group called Café Scientifique, and it was pretty cool, but we quit it after a few years. But like I was always amazed at the popularity of them and how many people showed up for them. And there's tons. There's reading clubs, there's discussion clubs, public speaking clubs. There's one on here I'm looking at right now. It's called Ice Bath and Sauna. And
damn. Oh no, that fits the broader wellness community. Now, of course, some meetups would involve drinking, but the ones that you listed, it just sounds like that's not the priority. That's not why people are there. And so it'll be easier to say I'm not drinking.
Right. And the ice bath one, the picture is like 5 people sitting in like a jacuzzi filled with ice cubes giving the thumbs up. So
damn.
Even if you wanted to have a sip of beer, you'd be shaking too much to get it to your lips.
My last thing, Greg, I'm not sure what to call it, but I think there's kind of an intellectual subculture in Bangkok. It might not be huge, but I think it exists, and it's kind of like people who are into the Siam Society or people who are into the National Museum.
Yeah.
And it's basically educated Thais and kind of curious foreigners. But that whole scene, it's been a while, but I have been to some speeches and stuff or talks at CM Society, and there might be a little bit of drinking and some wine over here, but those types of, I don't know what to call them, smarter meetups,
intellectual pursuits, intellectual hobbyists, or something like that. Yeah. The museum volunteers are huge.
Yes.
The Siam Society is great. I've been a member for years, and I highly recommend people do that because they get visiting classical musicians to perform, and they have talks in their library and lectures on a crazy variety of topics, and they do field trips in Bangkok and in Thailand and even outside of Thailand as well. You got to have a bit of money and free time to do that, but still, though, there's a real I don't know, the rabbit is the wrong word, but the people who are into these sort of subcultures are really into them, and there's a surprisingly vibrant support structure for those things here. You just have to dig a little bit,
That's right. But I just like this topic because it's just a good example of getting off the beaten path or breaking out of patterns. And certainly there are some people like our young friend who just don't drink, but then there's people who want to go on the wagon like this is something that I should do. So you're someone who's used to going to sports bars. It doesn't even have to be going to red light bars. It's just like you're used to going to sports bars or my music club that I hang out at. There's just a lot of drinking there. So it's very hard to go to a place where you have been drinking and then say I'm not drinking, and then you get some of the social awkwardness. So it's much easier just to say, hey, I'm going to go on the wagon for 6 months, and now so I want to be just not have the pressure, not have it in my face. I don't want to be tempted. And I think Bangkok is good. I mean, I think maybe this is the point of this whole episode. Is I think Bangkok is actually good for non-drinkers. It sounds crazy, but I think it's good.
I do too. And what kind of hobbies do you think people can start to learn in Bangkok? Well,
you have all the martial arts. I mean, you have martial arts like we mentioned.
Yeah,
martial arts are huge. Like BJJ, Muay Thai, obviously.
Right.
I mean, that fits into the sports stuff.
I think photography is a huge one. If you've ever
photography, that's that's really good.
Yeah, if you've ever had the itch, man, like there's not a better city to learn photography than Bangkok.
There's a lot of photo walks and things like that. And again, that hiking club, outdoors stuff.
Bike riding. There's also the bike hash, which I go to sometimes.
That's right.
So yeah, there's tons to do with where booze is not even a part of the main event.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is just when you fall into the pattern of you're just constantly doing stuff that involves drinking. Like our favorite bike ride. The purpose of it is to end up at Chit Beer. Like that's the focus of the whole thing. That's the mecca. We're heading to Chit Beer.
Yeah, you're right. But we also do other routes where beer is not at the end. It's just the reward at the end is our air-conditioned condo and maybe a swimming pool. So
true that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting topic. Yeah, like you said, and it's definitely doable. You might have to dig a little bit because the more traditional activities with a heavy dose of alcohol involved are just so easy and so fun.
So easy. It's everywhere. You don't need advice on where to find that.
Exactly. It's right. It's in your face.
That's the default.
Yeah.
Anyway, great topic, and I need to take some of that advice.
I do too. Yeah. And just look at that bottle of tequila sitting in my closet that's been there for about 6 years. I think it's probably fine to throw it out by now. All right, let's get into some love, loathe, or live with, where one of us picks a particular aspect of living in Bangkok, which we discuss to decide if it's something we love about living here, loathe about living here, or have come to accept as something that we just have to learn to live with, no matter how we feel about it. And this weekend, I got something for you, but I'm not sure how familiar you are with it. And this actually comes from our buddy BKK Vuck on Discord.
Oh, okay.
So, what do you think of those Tao Bin machines? the ones with the turtle logo, and it's like this big rectangular machine that it dispenses an absurd variety of drinks and snacks.
Are those the ones that have like, all the different types of coffee?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. It's funny. They kind of scare me, and I don't think I've actually ever used one, but there is one at my university that I look at curiously, and I don't know why I've never tried it. I just look at it, and it's funny. I don't know why I'm on this kick, but on the bonus show I talked about going to a laundromat that made me feel like I was in Japan.
Yeah.
It was so modern. That's how those tie-in machines. Like I look at it and I'm like, it almost seems like it's a little too sophisticated for Bangkok. Like with all the options, you're right. It's got like 30 different types of. It's got like 8 different types of coffee. And
it's like Italian soda, and it's got 12 different flavors.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
And you can choose: do you want shaved Oreos on top of your soda? Do you want a milkshake? Do you want this?
Yeah,
it's
I would
ridiculous.
say all I can say about them is that they kind of scare me, and I've looked at them like wondering if I should attempt to get something, but I'm kind of intimidated. I don't know why.
Well, they're a lot like your washing machines. You just scan the QR code and it starts making your drink, and it takes like a minute. And I think they're fantastic. And I walked by one time.
But do you
where the
use
guy was,
them? You use it.
I've used them a lot, and I walked by one time when the guy was servicing it, and the front was open. And dude, it's like a mad scientist lab inside. It's crazy the amount of technology inside those things. Well, I think they're fantastic. But I saw a discussion on Reddit, and people were going back and forth about them, and people were like, "Oh, their drinks are disgusting, such a ripoff." But I think they're great.
All right. Well, I'm due to ignorance, I'm just gonna have to make this a live with. But maybe it's something I should explore. So some people think that drinks don't taste good.
Yeah, they thought that like the coffee is shitty and stuff like that. And okay, maybe they're probably not like hipster barista quality, but you're buying it from a vending machine on the side of the street. Like it does pretty good in a pinch.
Well, they do look pretty modern and sophisticated. I'll give them that.
Yeah, so I'm a love for those things. I think they're great. That'll be your new hobby: visiting every Tao Bin machine in Bangkok.
All right, a final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
That's right. Listen to each episode on YouTube. Send us a voicemail through our website that will feature on the show. Find me on Blue Sky. I'm BKK Greg. Thank you for listening, everyone. I will see you back here next week.
No doubt. Hello.
Blam. Blam. You know what we should do? I got these stickers printed up. We should put up I gave you them, right? The Bangkok Podcast stickers.
Yeah.
I've put a few up in places around Bangkok.
Cool.
We should say that if any listener takes a photo of one and sends it to us, we should give them a little prize or something.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Implicate myself in a graffiti campaign.
Although, is it illegal to do that? Are you Is it littering?
I don't know. I could just say I tripped. Oops. Press my palms up against.
I'm a rule of law guy. Don't forget that.
Oh, okay. I'll do it on my own then. I won't invite the narc.
Don't get me involved. I'll go Elliot Ness on your ass.